All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last live stream of 2024. So, as you may have noticed, my channel name and the handle has changed a little bit. And the history of that was that initially I had done I had changed it into, um, what was it, Diaz Tap Out. Because what was happening was that APOT was impersonating my account, and so I changed it just to kind of throw him off a little bit. But then I wanted to go. I mean, because things were just kind of getting boring on the comment section, on the YouTube comment section. Uh, oh, Happy New Year, Tilting Windmill. Um, and Hey, Miranda, Saiboob. Um, Nice to have you guys here. But what I was saying was that I've kind of gotten a little bit tired of the YouTube comments. So I restarted my Twitter account. And because of the Diaz tap out was kind of limiting, because I don't want this channel to be just discussions, about atheism. Like last week, we had the discussion about Luigi, and I think we can have other discussions about and science and philosophy. So I changed the name to Challenge Your Beliefs, and as I said, I've went to so I changed it on my Twitter account as well. And I had this Twitter account for a while. And at some point, I had like over 11,000 followers. But because I had let it sit for a couple years, it went down to a little bit above 9,000. So I've been building up this channel, and I've been using it to try to find people who might be interested. And it's been pretty successful. Uh, there's a few people who were willing to come on. And so, like for the one next week, it's someone from the Twitterverse. And there's kind of, well, I still call it Twitter, but obviously it's X, and there's a lot of turmoil going on there. And a lot of people are moving off of Twitter to Blue Sky. And so I've migrated some people or some of my followers over to Blue Sky, but right now it's only a couple hundred followers. I want to get, I mean, once I get enough, I can kind of be, have this as more of the primary rather than Twitter. But it's going to take a while, considering I'm only at 200. So I still have pretty good visibility on Twitter, enough that, I am able to kind of pull people into the discussion. So that being said, I wanted to start a new segment called, let's see. Oh, sorry. Called the Dodger of the Week. And this doesn't have to be just the Twitter Dodgers. For this first inaugural one, it is a Twitter user, but we know the Dodger, the many different Dodgers we have on the AXB channels. Specifically, APOD and Jim Edith, Neppy, and then the Monkey Boy has a special place, of course, in the sense that he's the one. Oh, hold on, I need to do the Monkey Boy.
Half a while you can, the Monkey Boy.
So the Monkey Boy will always have a special place because he's the one who went and challenged all the atheists and then ran away as soon as I accepted his bluff or called his bluff. So he'll definitely be always kind of sort of a special Dodger or Dodger of the channel. He'll be our little, what do you call it, a mascot Dodger. So before I get started, I'll go ahead. Just a couple things. John Clark won't be on. Unfortunately, his father had a slip and broke 3 ribs. So it sounds pretty serious. So he won't be able to make it. And I think we all wish his dad a speedy recovery. And Blarg is running a little bit late, so he'll be joining us a little bit later. So, Stefan, sorry. So on the panel with me right now
Sorry about
is
that, guys.
Neil
Technical issues.
and Stefan.
How you doing,
Guys.
guys? And g'day to everyone.
Hello.
So, so Ook, you want to let us know about your new kitty cat?
Oh, we were going to get Burmese, but I decided $1,600 a kitten was just a little bit too much. And at the animal shelter, they had a Leonese kitten, and I had never heard of the breed before. Went and had a look at it. God, they're gorgeous. It's a cross between a Tonkinese and a Himalayan cat. Very unusual.
Lyonese, or is it Lebanese?
Layyanes.
Okay, Leonese. Okay,
Leonese. And of course, it is loving the place, but he's also loving attacking me, which is rather fun.
So which one does it look like of the ones that are on the screen?
The screen, probably the first 2 top right, top left.
Top left. Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks very similar to Siamese, right?
So it looks similar.
Yeah.
But as they get older, they develop. Well, he's already got stripes down the front of each leg, and just a big, thick chocolate stripe down the back. Yeah, that's basically. Imagine that smaller, and
wow.
Of course, his eyes haven't even lost the blueness, and sometimes they keep the blue eyes all the way through till adulthood. And he's a short-haired one. You can get the long-haired or the short-haired. But yes, it's interesting after having large cats to have a kitten. So I've got to look before I've got to check my chair before I move it. I also got to check before I sit down. Yeah, it's he's enjoying it, but yeah, I figured getting one from the RSPCA, the Royal Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Yeah, so he was a rescue kitten, and I figure paying $400 to them is much better than paying $1,600 to a registered breeder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once we find out how he settles in, then we'll decide whether we get him a playmate. But at the moment, one's enough. Something that's also rather affected my life at the moment. As you all know, I have severe spinal problems off and on because of an accident decades ago. My right leg from knee down was going numb. My toes were turning black and all that sort of stuff.
Not black.
Oh, it's going really dark. Like they were bruised. My doctors didn't know what was going on, couldn't work it out. They kept thinking it was something neurological. They did an ultrasound of all the arteries, and just before the femoral artery in the right leg branches off, the femoral artery is 75% blocked by calcification. So it's less than 0.00% of it actually breaking off. But yeah, probably be that sort of clot or thing is usually been around for a decade or so. So Lord knows how I got it, why I got it, because I don't have my cholesterol. I don't make good cholesterol, so my cholesterol is always low. Yeah, but so the new year I'll be going in. Hopefully they can get it done with remove it with a stent. Worst case scenario, have a artery graft. But yeah, they were all confused why my leg was having that thing. And yeah, I probably lost about 80% of the feeling in my lower leg, but that will all come back once they get rid of it. So,
wish you the best there, buddy.
Yeah,
it's fairly routine now, but
yeah,
it's still not pleasant.
Yeah, it's that thing. I'd much rather know. I was scared because I thought it was my spine. You know, something was really severely compromised, and that's the last thing, because you know I've had dozens of surgeries, and yeah, it turns out it's a calcification. They're not even sure what the clot is made of, but it's calcified to the wall of the artery, so it's not going to move.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think that's cool. I'd much rather know than not know when it comes to health problems. And yeah, a great weight's been lifted off my shoulder. It's sort of like, oh, that's an easy. They do that. I don't even think it's an if it's a graft, it's overnight. But if it's the stent, it's day surgery. This is wonderful.
At least you get done within a day.
Yeah, that's why I'm sort of my mood's improved, shall we say?
With a let you keep the towel afterwards.
Yeah, and Crystal has, I think, 2 days ago, reserved my name on Blue Sky. So yeah, I'm going to start mucking around on Blue Sky, and I have discovered Twitter. So I should see Q on Twitter, though I can only take it in very small increments. But yes.
Get back on my Twitter, so yeah.
Yeah, it's that thing of the AXP has just become a toxic soup. So I've moved over to other channels, the Line, the Deconstruction Zone, and a couple of
Deconstruction
others.
Zone's really good.
Yeah, and yeah, so looking forward to Q doing his stuff on Blue Sky and Twitter.
Well, yeah, I'll show you. So as this new segment, Dodger of the Week, you'll see some of it. But yeah, definitely for those of you who have accounts on those platforms, yeah, do find me and follow me, and I'll follow you back. I guess it's kind of hard to see on for here, but yeah, if you just do a search for Challenge Your Beliefs, I should come up. I'm not sure, but anyway,
Your
so
graphics are easy to see and find, so
yeah. So I just noticed I've been like flipping the direction of that logo, pointing to the left and pointing to the right, because to kind of throw off APOT's impersonation. So I didn't realize I had it wrong way here, so I have to change that. Although, yeah. Anyway, so this Dodger of the Week. So a Dodger is basically someone who runs away as soon as challenged to have a live discussion. Chris was saying that his name on Blue Sky is spelled correctly.
I purposely misspelt Uki, the librarian, resurrected.
Oh, by the
because-
way, congratulations on being selected for Question of the Week. I think last week, right?
Miranda, yeah, she gets in there all the time. I don't think I would have.
No, you were
Oh, me?
in. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I'll have
you didn't
to.
notice.
No, I'll have to watch it. Yeah. Oh dear. I'm up with things. But yeah, I changed my name because I had the same thing you were happening. Clone fake profiles were popping up left, right, and center. So I went, I'll purposely misspell it so that people know it's me.
Yeah. So the funny thing was the fake APOD account, APOD 18,
Yeah.
one was also selected. Yeah, and we were having a little bit of fun about it. He was like all mad. Oh no, that's not me.
I'm definitely going to have to watch it now.
Yeah, I think it was last week's, right? Or does anyone remember?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I'll go, but I'm slowly going back.
Oh, I guess it was 2 weeks, right? Because of maybe it was Christmas. They didn't have one.
Yeah, it was. They had.
Yeah. So yeah, it was. Let me just. Where is this?
Because Miranda usually always gets in the top 3.
I know. She just needs to give us a bit of a chance ourselves.
Oh, I see the crossings. Yeah, with the 3. All right, I'll go and have a look. Cool.
Oh, okay, yeah. So wait, here's the one.
Oh,
from Crazy Uncle at Thanksgiving or something, right? If evolution is true, if we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Forrest, did we in fact come from monkeys? Jim?
Play, and I realized money. The whole joke.
I don't know if you saw that in advance.
Probably that Avengers movie. Like that, but the behind the scenes, it was a back here. Yes.
And Matthew
Is
Broderick
the
comes out
audio
and
loud enough?
says, "Where are you still? Somebody stories. Go home.
yeah, a bit choppy, but it's fine.
I'm up with.
What's going on? Oh, did I?
It's that
Wait.
thing.
Did I
The final
miss?
touches on the script for a new sex and sensibility.
Yeah, share your experience question. It didn't come from no monkey. So we picked 3 of our favorites. Can anybody try to read the name of number 3? Okay, Kili.
Oh God, yes, it's me.
Librarian Born maybe said, quote, I didn't come from no monkey. I'm an orangutan that has been strategically shaved a number of times. That's ringing the bell. Yeah, strategically shaved orangutan. Sounds like it comes from a movie or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for that. Man.
Sure. Oh, yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I mean, APA was just getting, kind of upset and getting triggered with the in-person. Oh, the other one was like, how, the monkey was just, saying how this is just horrible, and then like, APOD is constantly doing that. And the other thing is, I don't know if any of you caught it, but Libby was, kind of berating APOD for impersonating accounts and how, it's dishonest and, immoral and all that, and said, I hope you can fix it. And of course he doesn't, right?
Yeah, I saw
He
that.
can't.
You know how they had that sort of nice-ish conversation a month ago.
Yeah.
Libby and APOT, and now Libby's pissed off with him, or thinks the way you're behaving is wrong. I think she also had a go at him over the graping crap that he keeps pushing. But yeah, so it's funny that he's ostracizing what I would call devout Christians. And I mean,
yeah, I mean, he's saying that these are pacifist Christians,
yes,
they need to be like him.
Yeah,
they need to be like him, where he calls for people to be thrown off of helicopters. That's the kind of Christian everyone should be in his mind.
He wants the militant type.
Sorry, Steve-O, you were garbled.
Yeah, he wants the militant type of Christian on here.
Yeah, he would have joined the Knights Templar and gone off a crusading.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he would be doing unspeakable things to, quote unquote, the heathens.
He would be an inquisitor.
Yeah.
In the Roman and Spanish Inquisition.
That's a scary thought, don't you?
Little fact: people keep going about the Spanish Inquisition. The actual Roman Inquisition lasted about 2 centuries longer than the Spanish one. The Roman Inquisition was that went right through the Protestant movement and all that. It was kept going right through that. So not as violent, but still torture and all that whatnot. Yeah, so it went for about 2 centuries longer than the Spanish Inquisition. I just happened to be reading some old notes that I had from my school days. So, oh, good, someone got rid of Wesley. In the chat, he's insane.
I'm just looking at his channel. Bloody hell.
And so is the world's only bipedal haggis. Paul, yeah, whatever his name is. All right, back to Q.
All right. Yep. All right. So let's get into this. We'll spend maybe 10, 15 minutes on this, and then we'll have our honored guest of this stream, Neil, go into his discussing pantheism. So for this one, there's a slide. So the Dodger of the Week for this inaugural segment is New Jersey. And I'm not sure if you can see his tag or some of these letters. I guess it's a bit hard to see. But, he's obviously a Christian. And what the comment that started this whole thing is, so there's an atheist account, Lilith, and they said the biblical global flood absolutely never happened. And for New Jersey, this is hilarious. Hilarious that, he's saying that the atheists don't really understand the Bible, and this will be funny later on. So he's saying that the global flood never happened, and it was local. And the evidence he has that is local is 2 Peter 3:6. By these waters, the world of that time was deluged and destroyed. And his focus is of that time. So it's not global because it only flooded the people that they knew at that time. I don't know if that means that the writers knew at the time or that God knew at the time, which is kind of interesting, right? Larg is going to be back on 15 to 20 minutes, but he's listening in. So I responded to say that, if you're going to say that the biblical flood was local, and the reason why he says it's local is because the idea of a global flood absolutely doesn't make sense. It's impossible. It's physically impossible. And we have that one Muslim guy who also, talked about a local, because the Quran didn't specifically say that it was a global flood. But in the Bible, it's pretty clear that it's a global flood. But, if he's going to say it's a local flood, maybe not cite a verse in the New Testament, right? Because the story is in the Old Testament. So what if who cares what Second Peter says about it? It's not like the author of that book was there, even if it happened. It's not like he was there to be able to say that it was local. And not only that, the author of Second Peter is not the same as the Apostle Peter, who supposedly wrote First Peter, because that author obviously the style and grammar and all that is different. So most scholars accept that it's a different author pretending that it was Peter. So that's another strike. And in the verse, it uses a Greek word cosmos. So it's very hard to say local if when using the word cosmos, right? So I kind of do a little allusion to I can't remember what verse this is, but it's study to show yourself a workman not ashamed.
The strangely enough, the Quran, the Muslims are correct. And not only doesn't it say anything about global, but it linguistically speaking, and I've forgotten the exact phrase for this, but they have, by the way they wrote back then, and it's local from what all the hermeneutics, thank you, show that they were speaking locally, and which also some Muslim apologists suggest that that's why the Egyptians don't have a record of a flood at the time when it was supposed to happen, because it was further south. Yeah, but that's one thing. The Quran is slightly more realistic than the Bible. Back to Q.
Well, I mean, the Quran doesn't have as much of the details of the flood, so it doesn't say, how big the ark was, and it doesn't say how long it rained, how long the flood lasted, etc. So it's more vague. So it's easier to kind of make that case, because there isn't the text that specifically says that it was local or global. But in general, it's kind of hard to say that it's local when it's talking about the amount of water, right, that's reaching to the highest peak and all that. But let me go on here. I think the next okay, so before I go to the next slide, let me just show you guys the back and forth that I was having with this guy. Yeah, so this is the thread here. So oh no, I'm doing the wrong one. Let me do this one. Okay, so yeah, so this is a thread. And so Side Boob actually anticipates this, right? If it was only a local flood, why send the animals from all of the earth there, right? It makes no sense. So I asked, so if it was local, why did Noah build a huge ark and get 2 of every kind of animals, depending on which of the 2 flood stories there are, right? Because on one flood story, it's just 2 of every animals, and in the other part, it's 2 of the unclean animals and 7 pairs of all the clean animals. So what it'd be much easier to just evacuate his family, right? Instead of getting, every kind of animals in there, just pick up and leave, and that applies to the Quran thing. Oh, yes. Oh, I missed it. Neil was saying that the Quran is only better because it's deliberately vaguer. Yeah, I don't know if it's deliberate, but yeah, it is definitely vaguer. But yeah, it doesn't make sense, right? Why not just like pick up and leave? Why spend all that time and effort building So this guy, it's what I said was pretty simple, but he's like asking, were you attempting to make a point? Yes. And he's just saying, these words are just words that literally go nowhere, kind of like Noah. Was that your intention? So I was making fun of him that, he can't see the point and blames me for his inability. And I told him to read a little slowly, and he still doesn't get it. So I said, okay, let me make it easier for you. Why Noah not evacuate? Where no flood? And he still kind of keeps going on with this, so and this is the interesting part, that some Christians, and this is the first time I've heard Christians make this comment that it's a local flood. Has anyone either in the chat or on the panel heard of this? Christians making this argument?
Some of the new baby apologists use that. It was local. I put a list in the last live show comments of some of the better or the funnier of the baby apologists sites that I found, and two of them are dribbling on about the local flood. So it appears that it might be a new trend that they're trying. It's still...
If it was only local, therefore God.
Yeah, it wasn't the world, therefore God. I like the Catholic idea of the entire Old Testament is a Hebrew... it's Hebrew creation myth, the creation of there's nothing... It's just an old story.
Really?
Yeah, it's just an old... It's not to be taken literally. It's just, it's like the easiest thing I can say is it's a combination of, say, in England, they had the King Arthur mythology, a mishmash, and the whole history of the Britons. And I have forgotten the monk who wrote the first history of Britain.
Oh.
You can look it up. But yeah, it's all, nothing is fact. It's all just hearsay and stories told to explain how Jericho walls fell down and all that sort of thing. So yeah, at least that was the canon that was being taught when I was at school.
Well, I think it's an acknowledgement that there are a lot of stuff in the Old Testament that's kind of hard to swallow.
Yeah, and I mean, the first day of high school, the principal stood up, held up the Bible and said, "We're here to teach you how to think, not what to think. Anyone who tells you this book is supposed to be taken literally, run away from."
That sounds pretty sensible.
Yeah, because they were very, at that time, science-based. They were so proud of the fact of, our priests have changed the idea of cosmology with, the father of the Big Bang, all this sort of stuff. They were very proud of that. They were moving, and it's all part of the Vatican II change. They were very proud that Catholics are moving forward scientifically. We're not sticking to the old, obviously. It's just a myth crap that was in
we got that over here as well.
Yes.
Yeah, the Catholic, they're very much going, don't take it literally.
Yeah, and I think I'm 57, I think. So I don't know how old you are, Neil, but it was also even the High Church of England, they started to do that as well, and gay priests and married and vicars. Vicar of Dibley started to be one of my favourite shows until she went to Twee. Very good show
Yeah.
if anyone wants to watch
Yeah.
it. Vicar of Digley.
So
Sorry.
It's a
did
very
you
good
hear-
description
ahead.
of
Sorry.
Anglicanism.
Yeah, it is wonderful. Sorry, Keith. Oh,
Yeah, so there was some recent article about in the UK, I can't remember. I have to look it up whether it's atheism or non-religion. So it's the majority now. It's over 50%.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but do you remember hearing that?
I don't remember hearing that figure. I am aware because I know quite a few
Okay.
Christians. I'm aware within the church there's lots of musings about the numbers. And in the UK, we're very reticent about saying exactly, what we adhere to and all manner of things. It's the height of impoliteness to ask someone.
yes, it's that the UK politeness. It's come on, that's a bit
So
rude.
yeah, so this
Yeah.
is from the University of London, a site or publication, and it says that there's a global rise in atheism and atheists. So it says atheists, not just non-religious. Atheists now outnumber theists in the UK. So
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just sticking Wesley in a 30-minute timeout then.
I put him in timeout as well. So he says, laugh it up, idiots. And oops, when I see that.
Laugh a while you can, monkey boy.
So, all right. Well, yeah, I wonder if I should just ban Wesley from this channel. I don't think.
No, with between the mods, I think we can keep them generally under control.
All right. Yeah. So, yep. So UK is definitely ahead of the US in this regard.
I mean, but to me, Church of England Anglican is not so much. You don't even have to believe in God to be a member of the Anglican Church. It's more tea and biscuits sort of thing. Have a nice chat. Don't be a dick to other people. I've never really.
There's a
Yeah, up again, yeah. Sorry.
no. I was going to say that there's a Yes Minister skit about it when he's picking up, probably Yes Prime Minister actually, when he's picking the new Archbishop, and he's got a choice between progressive bishops and conservative ones.
Yeah.
And the difference was basically conservative ones don't believe in God, progressive ones tell you they don't believe in God.
Yes. And you're correct. I think it's the fourth. Oh dear, I am a nerd. I think it's Yes Prime Minister, the fourth or fifth episode.
That sounds
the
about right,
Archbishop. Yeah. I didn't consume a lot of BBC telly at all. As he puts his head down.
All right. So I hope we're going to have enough time for Neil, but just to get back with New Jersey here. So he's saying that some Christians, as we're talking about, believe that the flood was limited to the Mesopotamian Valley, which is the area of modern-day Iraq. And, he's saying this area is 1.6 million square kilometers. So I have a comment on this, but yeah, other people are saying, yeah, no one could have evacuated. He had 120 years. And, his response is that God commanded Noah. So even if God was being an idiot, right, of, giving him this horrible, horrible advice to build a huge ark when it's local. But God said it. So, what are you going to do? If there was like a hurricane or huge area that was forecasted to be flooded, no one on the TV is going to tell you, get ready by building a boat. They're going to tell you to evacuate. So
Yeah, and that's it because whether that hurricane's we're not standing around if it's going to be a big one. So I'm getting the hell out of Dodge for the first chance we get.
yeah. So I did the calculation, and for 1.6 million square kilometers, let's say it's kind of a circular area, it's about 720 kilometers from the center to out of that area. And 720 kilometers is about 450 miles. And this distance is like New York to Charlotte, or, for the Europeans, it's like Paris to Zurich. So even without a car, that would take about 20 days at 3 miles per hour, assuming that you're going to walk 8 to 10 days, 8 to 10 hours per day. So, if you had a lot of load, maybe a month, but it'll definitely be much faster if you rode that T-Rex that so, all right. So that's where it went. But the reason why he's the Dodger of the week is I said, okay, so I challenged him to come to this channel and have this discussion. So I said, so you will come and have a discussion. Cool. Here's how you can, come on to get my channel from my profile, but I'm sure you'll post some lame excuse to punk out. But, he basically said, dude, I just attempted to listen to a few of your videos. Unfortunately, I will never get those few minutes back again. But if it confirmed that you literally know nothing about scripture, I challenged you several times on X. You didn't respond once. And this is despite me responding multiple times. So it's very familiar to APOD and the Monkey Boy and all those other guys. Because I think initially he refused by saying, I'm not going to go on your stupid channel. But it was just funny that he was saying that based on our some of the streams that I know literally nothing about the scripture. And the funny thing is, he was, he was kind of responding to his evidence of it being a local flood. It's just that verse in Second Peter, and he's basically saying, it's not the cosmos for the world being used. It's you have to look at the toti, I guess, which is an adverb when at the, and it just means at the time. So the world at the time, meaning that, like I said before, either God didn't know about the rest of the people in other parts of the world outside of the Mesopotamian Valley, or the writer didn't. And of course, it's not possible for God to not know, right? He's supposed to be omnipotent. Okay. So I said, well, that's that makes sense. God only knew of that one particular part of the planet. The funny thing is, he says that my interpretation there, right? That the world, when it says world, it should be all the world that existed at the time. And so he says the Hebrew language is limited in its words to apply to something. That's why you need to read it in context. And the context is this Greek word, which he says is an so it's like, really, Hebrew? While he's mentioning a Greek word, he's saying it's, and he doesn't even acknowledge it. He basically just like, just not use this today. So yeah, it's pretty bad for him to accuse anyone of not having understanding of the scriptures when he doesn't even know what language the New Testament was written in, while referring to the Greek word. So that's what makes him the Dodger of the week for this week. And
Yeah.
5 minutes in, so I want to make sure Neo gets enough time. So let me just kind of give a little bit of introduction here. So last week, I think, Neo offered to talk about his pantheism. And I know in the comments, those guys were kind of getting on your case a little bit, Neo. So what we'll do here is Neo can, kind of educate us, and hopefully those trolls will listen to this part. And so what I asked Neo to do is, kind of give us an introduction to what pantheism is and how it's, different from, just regular theism. And I wanted to have him talk a little bit about sort of his version of pantheism and his epistemology on, why he believes that. And then we can take some questions both from people on the panel or people on the live chat. So with that said, oh, looks like Blarg was on and I didn't realize. Hello, Blarg, you're on.
G'day all. Just got here.
Hello.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Okay, so you didn't have to wait too long.
I'll let Neil get on with his thing, eh?
Okay, all right.
Okay, no worries. I'll try and be quick. Okay,
Neil,
so
don't you have like a slideshow or something to? No, you didn't prepare it, huh?
I wouldn't do a slideshow. That'd be awful.
No PowerPoint.
It'd have like 3 panels on it.
422 PowerPoint slides. Just a small thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm an engineer. We love them.
I don't picture to that.
Okay, right. So pantheism, if I can speak properly. There's basically 2 main bits to it. So the first bit is that the universe is everything. And so this means that any possible gods are a subset of that. So they're part of everything. And it basically means there's nothing supernatural. It's all universe naturalness. If that makes sense.
For the most part, yeah.
No
so
problem.
essentially, the biggest you'll ever get a god to be would be to be the universe itself.
So is this like general pantheism, or is this kind of your
that's
version?
pantheism in general. The
Okay.
most common bit is they decide that the universe is God, and obviously only one God because it is the everything. That's not what I hold because I'm still not sold on that. But I do, I do consider that gods can be possible based on the universe. They're just not going to be supernatural.
So it's definitely not a god with a will or having personal connections with people or anything like that, right? It's just the universe.
It's not a personal will crop up in your life tomorrow as Fred type god. No.
So one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit is that you're saying that if there is a theism god, that it would just fall under this pantheism god. So you're kind of like leaving room open for theism.
Well, I mean, it is theism itself because it's belief in gods, but it's not stating that this is the only way it can be, if that makes sense.
There's no direct worship or praying to
Neil.
It's
not necessary.
Yeah, it It just is.
It's like you know, it's like worshiping a rock, basically.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so I'm not sure yet of what you're saying in terms of like the God, the theism God. Are you just saying that the theism God is just, really same as a pantheism God that people kind of personify, or that there could be a theism God that is a subset of the universe?
I'm not quite following you. Basically, if gods are part of the universe,
Mhm.
then they're going to be natural.
Okay, so it's not you're not allowing for a supernatural God. So
Yeah, there's
a
nothing.
supernatural God.
Supernaturalism can't occur because it's, it was part of the universe. So by definition, it would be natural.
Right. So it's so when a theist says that their God is outside of time and space, and presumably they can say that it's outside of our universe, then it is, it can still exist in your pantheism.
Well, in pantheism, it wouldn't be outside the universe; it'll be inside the universe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's somewhat impossible to be outside of our, space and time and still be a personal God. But I can kind of see where, a theist would make that argument.
It's more along the lines of a God as a placeholder cannot break the laws of nature.
Yes.
As we know it. Anything that does is counted as supernatural, and therefore it's not natural, and it breaches one of Neil's core things, whereas his gods are all natural. If you can look at it that way. I don't know whether I made it clearer or muddier there.
No, that's good. Yeah. And as Miranda says, it's closer to being deistic, especially in the universe is God version, than other theism.
Okay,
I'm guessing though there's nothing to stop, for example, a highly advanced alien being equated as a personal god if it interacts with people and does things for them.
Essentially, yes. I would say that the more advanced a civilization alien is, the more likely it is that you can call it a god. I don't see there being an essential difference there.
Yeah, though for me, I'd be more comfortable with just calling that an alien. It feels to me like if you're going to invoke the term God, it needs to somehow be capable of breaking the laws of the universe. That's from the perspective of a person who's raised in a Western sort of Christian mindset. That's where you sort of end up. But God's supernatural and everything else is natural. And if it was a highly advanced alien that appeared like a god, it'd still be just a highly advanced alien, no matter how you looked at it.
Well, let's say that. I think the comparison could be like, I think in one of the previous XP show there, someone was talking about ants and person. So to an ant, a human being could be considered a god in a sense because it's just, supremely more power. And from the ant's point of view, this being is, breaking maybe its understanding of how the universe works. So if we get some alien who, let's say, has understand was it the unified, theory of physics, and is able to, like, for example, just harness, power that we can't imagine right now. I guess they could come and masquerade and call themselves a god, right? And in kind of this pantheistic sense, that could be a theistic god, right?
Yes, that's the point I was making. Just then went on to say that it wouldn't feel like that we should reasonably call that a god per se, rather than a benevolent, friendly, alien. But that's just my way of looking at it. Whereas other people, if it requires certain interactions that resemble prayer or some sort of devotion, then, functionally it would be equivalent to a god, I suppose.
And Miranda has just raised a point that I was going to raise.
Let me just say that I completely disagree with her point, because Picard is God. I think everyone should admit that.
In terms of the Star Trek universe, yeah.
So I thought
and Wesley Crusher is the devil.
Oh.
But in the Star Trek world,
I think
sorry, go ahead, Neil.
No, I was going to say, I think probably the kind of best portrayal in science fiction would be on Babylon 5, where the old alien races, the first ones, are considered godlike by all the little modern day species, including us.
Well, the first example I was thinking was Q. I mean, not just because my handle QC, but Q has these powers that let him pretty much play around with the Enterprise, but he was still subject to limits.
Yes.
But if, let's say, like, if a Zeus existed, right, who's powerful and all that, and maybe immortal or whatnot, but has his own foibles, and it may be constrained by laws of physics, and that Zeus came down and called on people to worship him, people would worship him as a god, even though he's not God in the kind of the modern sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, people worship celebrities.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I mean, worshiping some powerful being who can essentially, like, destroy you with just a thought is a little bit different than, quote unquote, worshiping celebrities.
Yeah. You're more at risk.
Yeah. So that being said, I mean, I think I kind of understand what kind of your viewpoint is. Can you tell us a little bit about how you arrived at that?
Yeah, sure. It'd be a bit like family history, but okay. So my dad comes from a very openly atheist family. My mum's family is Catholic. She lapsed due to issues with nuns, shall we say. Ook will understand that. And
I can hate nuns, or to use Father Jack's words, nuns, reverse.
So we kind of were brought up fairly humanist, but sort of adjacent to, Christian religion, if that makes sense. And I was one of those really irritating kids who was asking why on everything. And so in the end, my parents just kept giving me book after book to read. And then when we went to Sunday school, I was given the Bible, so I read that and just went, well, this makes less sense than the science books I'm reading. And then I started applying that to all of the religions as I was growing up, and none of the religions kind of answered my questions properly, but science did. And I guess that the pantheism just fit better than most of them, without quite being atheism, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'm very agnostic, and that, you know, unlike some of the trolls think, that's not a contradiction to theism, because it's all about, you know, certainty of the knowledge, not what we believe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think they understand the concept of agnosticism being, you know, a belief, but lacking knowledge. So you are saying that, you know, this is something that you don't have knowledge of, but you just believe it, right?
Yeah.
Would it be safe to say that it's more this will be an interesting one to say without my teeth, Judaistic in nature, like the Druids, reverence for nature, all things, you know, except without the human sacrifice and blood sacrifice things that they went into. It's
well, yeah, as the more realistic depictions of the Druids, not the 70s cult of Stonehenge.
yes, they did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there is, you know, a kind of reverence for the universe, for life, and, you know, for other people.
Yeah. No, I'm following along there. Yeah.
But you don't have any evidence, right? That leads you to that belief.
I mean, that's the biggest issue, is you know, gaining evidence, and there's not really much in favor of any theism, to be honest.
Well, but even for a belief, you know, you do need to have some basis.
Well, do you? I mean, surely there are things that you believe in that, you know, you've not been convinced prior to be true. There are assumptions that you would make.
Such smaller scales.
So, Stephen?
I'm sorry, I'm using my phone. If you can't hear me that well, I'm just repeat. It's kind of like when we think about, when we're talking about, like, actually, the Chris thought, I'll come back to it a second if I can remember. But no, what I'm trying to say is we've all had those times where, you know, we kind of believe in something like on a smaller scale. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, say, you know, you believe that this person will try to do something for you to help you, or something like that. You know, not forget where I'm going with this. Go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry. I lost.
I'd say most people occasionally will have that kind of feeling. I'm not entirely sure how sure we can be that relates to an actual thing and not our I don't know, just general evolved way of thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's basically a huge problem, not just for me, but for all theists, I would say. Personal experience does not equal evidence.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something where I believe without a basis. So, I mean, I don't think you can believe in something with no basis, right? Then you're just kind of randomly believing things. There's always some basis that leads you to believe it. It may be false, or it may be distorted or whatnot, but it is something. You still have to have some basis for that final belief, right? Don't you think?
I don't know, to be honest.
Otherwise, it's just randomly believing things.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it gives gives you some sort of peace, just some sort of peace. You feel you feel your life is better with that belief than without it, and the fact that there's really no
sometimes I would say yes.
Yeah, the fact that there's really no objective evidence that you can show is neither here nor there. It just helps you in your everyday life or that sort of thing. Am I in the ballpark there?
I mean, yeah. I would say so. Some of the time that is quite true.
Yeah. And I mean,
what I would add to that is that I feel absolutely no need to have anyone else feel the same way.
Yeah,
and that's especially true because I can't demonstrate that is the right way. So if I don't know it's the right way, why would I try and make someone else do it?
Yeah, I mean, you're consistent. It's matching up with a lot of the Aboriginal beliefs or spiritual beliefs. It's also matching up with a lot of the animalistic native First Peoples. I'm trying to be PC here. Indigenous peoples' beliefs around the world. It's sort of it gives you peace, a nice feeling, and just helps you be more grounded, if you will, in life. I mean, going into a forest, especially the old forest in the old growth forests in the UK is, I don't like to use the word spiritual, but when I did that, it was a sense of peace, a sense of oneness, if you will. There are places, specific places in Australia where I feel that even stronger. The whole of Arnhem Land, and especially everyone likes to talk about Uluru, Ayers Rock as a spiritual Aboriginal place. It's actually the place that is more spiritual to me, for want of a better word, is the Olgas formation. And if you look that up on Google, you'll see why, because it's basically huge boulders. Imagine Uluru or Ayers Rock has been exploded, and there's big weather-worn rocks all over the place, and you can go down one little trail and see some rock art that's probably 50,000, 40,000 years old, and it just gives you, just sort of makes you feel happy, calm.
I would say more untouched, more unmodified by people.
Pure, if you will.
Yeah, the kind of more connected to it.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, it's not a spiritual thing, but it actually really does help. It's it's uplifting, and no, I'm tracking with you there. Okay, back to Neil.
I'm glad I'm making sense.
Well, Neil, let me ask then, why agnostic theism or pantheism as opposed to just being an agnostic atheist?
I don't feel the pull of atheism that strongly, to be fair. You know, maybe
Is
in the
that-
future I will be. It's entirely possible. I might, you know, the more that I learn, the more I might suddenly go, oh, hang on, you know, what I'm feeling is complete bollocks and explainable by other means. Therefore, not.
But do you believe that there are actually any gods? Or that this is just a possibility, that, you know, a sort of a way of looking at things?
I would say, given the age of the universe and my sort of understanding of my definition of what the gods would be, that they should be out there somewhere.
So
why not
you
just
think
call
there
them advanced
is a
aliens?
But it's a case of going, I don't have the evidence to say for sure on that.
Yeah, but
I mean,
why
but
not
that's
just
what agnostic atheism is, right? There's no evidence for sure, so yeah.
I won't believe in one until some turns up.
Yeah, but I still have the belief of it. So
yeah, fair
so
enough.
At the end of the day, it's you can say if you want that I'm riding the edges of the agnostic atheism if you like, but
You're happy to sit with a leg on each side of a barbed wire fence?
Well, it's not a leg on each side, because Neil, you're not a theist, right? A general theist, agnostic theist.
I'm not a Gnostic. I'm not one of those people who believes and therefore because they believe it must be true. Because that's just a control by other means, in my view.
Yeah, but
that's
I don't think
that's not feeling one with the universe. That's like going, well, this is what I want. I'll make other people do what I want.
But the general criticism of pantheism is that, why not just call it the universe? Why call it God?
Well, that's my view of that particular form of pantheism. Yeah, that's why I don't go as far as to say that the entire universe is one big God. At the moment,
so that's the difference between deism and pantheism, right? Deism posits a universe God that's separate from the universe itself, whereas pantheism, you're saying the universe itself is the God.
Well, there's
at best
also pantheists who say that God is the entire universe and we are living in God. So there's lots of nuance in that.
There's a ton of nuance there, and you get shades into the panentheists who basically say that the universe was inside a God, which I just find weird.
You mean the thing that Apod pretends that he is without knowing what it is?
Yes, that would be it, I think.
Yes, the extremely Christian belief that he claims isn't Christian.
I also get the feeling he's ancient alien strike quite heavily.
There was one
maybe that's
what
like my my view of the alien gods.
Yeah, and it's quite logical. And a being comes down, or if it interacts with you, that is so far beyond the scope of your understanding of what's possible. They can, you know, like the transporter on Star Trek. Yeah, it would be logical for people to say, to name that a god. When it's not, it's just an advanced being. I'm following. Sorry, Steve.
I just want to posit the fact in Clark's third law, right?
Couldn't quite.
Oh yeah, any advanced science is indistinguishable from magic.
That's kind of how I think you're viewing the God from your pantheist belief. It's kind of like that. It's more like, you know, anything that, how should I explain this? Anything that is beyond our current understanding is indistinguishable from a God.
Yeah, anything that is so far beyond us in technology or even insight into how the universe works would fill what I would say a theistic version of a god, especially if it demands worship. But from what I'm understanding is Neil's like a he's a subcategory of pantheism sort of thing.
Yeah.
If that's right.
Yeah, no, that's a better way of describing it. You know, I'm not a Spinoza pantheist or even an Einsteinian one.
Anyone in the live comments have questions for Neil?
I was going to make a comment about a guy who I dealt with last year before. We don't see him around very much, but he used to try and use the idea of the Drake equation, which you get the idea that aliens should exist, and then the idea that super advanced aliens should exist to try and leapfrog himself to the God of the Bible. So he defines supernatural as just being something we don't understand with science. Therefore, the supernatural exists. Therefore, the God outside the universe exists. And you go, wow, there's a hell of a leap.
That is a very big leap.
Yeah, you just go, oh. So yes, he was basically trying to use what do you call the fallacy where you're equating two words as being the same?
Equivocate.
Equivocation.
He's equivocating his way to God of the Bible. Yeah, because his meaning of supernatural was
equivocation across the gaps.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, he's saying that yes, the universe contains things that are supernatural because we don't understand them with our science currently. Therefore, the supernatural exists, which is the supernatural, which means stuff outside the universe. You go, oh, yeah,
yeah, it's supernatural. If you're gonna describe it as just unknown natural, then it's unknown natural.
It's still natural, yeah. It's just we don't know about it.
It's just that you don't know it.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying that for Newton, relativity is supernatural. It isn't. It's just science he doesn't know at the time.
Well, it is technically one of the meanings of the word supernatural. So hence the leapfrog. And you go,
but as I said, the leapfrog was basically going, right, well, it's unknown natural, therefore it's beyond natural.
Yeah, those. Yeah, it's good work from that trap, but I haven't seen him around for a while. I wasn't 100% certain whether him and Frankie the Snowflake were the same person, because both of the guys were actually they were surprisingly smart in their ability. So they're definitely not your average troll.
Oh, I forgot about Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie was. He does pop up occasionally. I have seen him around like every couple of months. He pops up, but him and the other guy whose name I can't think of at the minute. I'm not certain weren't the same person, because they were around at the same time and they were both, well above the average sort of for intelligence and capability, as opposed to the usual ones we have to deal with.
Yeah. They were just rather obviously dishonest.
Yes, very, very, very.
Well, our trolls were going on and on about Montreal Paul not making comments, right? So they were making really bad comments about, oh, maybe he offed himself, but they don't say anything about how Neppy is pretty much gone from the comments.
I haven't seen him.
Yes, he's mostly given up. Have you seen him around on any other forum, Ook?
Well, I looked at Twitter last week, and he's not posting anything. He's just reposting all the Trump stuff, and that's about it. I really haven't seen him anywhere else. I haven't even signed into Blue Sky yet, or what's the TikTok, so I haven't tried to have a look. But I know he is calling himself a doctor again on Twitter. So he's using the medical doctor.
What's his name on there?
Dr. James Powers. Yeah. And,
no, it's L Powers.
He's changed it again. Dr. L Powers, maybe, yeah. Because his wife's name's Louise.
Oh, what is his wife's name?
Louise Lauren. Starts with an L. Oh, there we are. That's him.
Yeah.
With an up-to-date photo.
Well, I don't think that's him. I think that might be his dad or something.
Yeah, it could be, because he lives with his dad.
Yeah.
In that trailer home.
Yeah.
His $1 million, the millionaire in a trailer home.
So doctorates are inherited now. You can pass them down.
He did used to call himself doctor because he was a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Before he got struck off for being too much of a quack for the chiropractors. That is quite a feat.
But
didn't it happen twice?
He's generational doctor.
Again?
Sorry, wait. If sin is generational, so could doctors, I suppose, be passed on generational.
No, I mean that doesn't happen.
Stephen, were you asking a question?
Yeah, the audio went really weird there for a moment.
Right now, my computer, I'm having issues with my computer, so my phone's a piece of shit. So I'm just have to work with it for now.
Were you asking a question?
No, I wasn't. I was just making a stupid comment.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't catch it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
So now he's like Georgia. He has a location as Georgia. I guess he's trying to throw people off.
Yes.
I particularly enjoy the fact that when Neil is expressing himself on the AXP comments, all the other theists get so upset, and their righteous anger against him. It's sort of like, no, you're an atheist. You can't decide. You're lying. You're there. When he just has a different definition of God, of what constitutes gods. And no one can look at any of Neil's posts and say there is anything hateful, anything derogatory. He's not putting down anyone else. He's not. Yeah, it's a benign theist view of gods, if you will. I can't see Neil's theology or I can't say it, epistemology as being harmful to anyone else in any way.
That would itself violate it, in my view.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty much the most of the Aboriginal views of spirituality. We're not, yeah. You can't force anyone to believe. It's just, don't be a dick. Don't force your beliefs on other people. Anyway, that's my 2 cents there. Back to Neil.
Yeah.
By the way,
I've set Libby off. I set Libby off the other day. It's she went into one long-winded rant about me, and I went, well, most of the time you ignore me.
Well, that applies to us as well. And I think most of us here don't respond too much to the Monkey Boy and to APOT, but I think there are people who are kind of giving them oxygen. I just feel like if no one reacts to them or directly responds to them, that eventually they're just gonna tire themselves out.
I don't think it's going to stop. It may
it won't stop.
It may decrease, but the amount of hatred that they're spewing,
that increases,
has only increased the less.
That's why I give them a poke every so often to set them off.
It's fun to do that, yeah.
Like poking an anthill.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, Steve. Yeah, poking the anthill. Watch them go crazy.
More energy they waste making themselves look bad, the better it is for everyone.
And the less we engage or try to refute their stupid, hateful comments, just take the piss out of them occasionally and talk amongst ourselves without actually referring to them in the comments. You refer to them in third person. That always upsets them. And I've noticed the last month or so that people will come into their thread and just, no, you're a hateful wanker, and disengage themselves from it. They're not getting as much attention as they used to. And it's causing them to go even further in their hate mongery, if that's a word. And eventually, if we keep making reports, let us hope that YouTube will one day do something.
Well, I mean, like when they were directly impersonating me using my profile picture, I reported them and it didn't do anything.
I must have done well over 200 reports.
Yes, unfortunately, YouTube/Google seems to have basically given up. You got to work really hard because the sort of stuff that we get out of Donkey and Ape these days, that sort of stuff should be able to get your account killed in days. But
yeah,
that just doesn't.
one thing I did notice in the line comments, I think it was the Sunday show after dark, I think it was this week or last week. The mods actually went in and removed all the comments that a incredibly toxic caller had made, which I thought, good. They're not. They're taking a stand. They're not letting it become a platform for hatred and bigotry and outright filth. I can only do, the pedophile, the child rape, all that sort of. That's just filth. No sane person's mind goes to that level. Or I might be wrong, but yeah, the idea of using those words to describe another person, another human, is just, my brain has to reboot every time I see that. It's like,
you just wonder how someone can make those comments even, or they're just kind of making accusations on people they have no idea who they are, except that they're an atheist, right? That's the only thing. By the way, Kristen S, I think it's the Kristen from the comments. Kristen says hello. It's interesting how
hello
people
back.
comment into the show.
Kristen S.
Hello.
Yeah, I mean, everything you've described, Neil, is mirroring a lot of the northern Aboriginal spiritual beliefs and some of the islanders and the Torres Strait and all that. It's
Kristen is actually I guess from Twitter. Sorry, Kristen, there's someone in the Atheist Experience YouTube channel going by Kristen, and I thought maybe
it's the same Kristen.
Oh, it is.
It's the same Kristen here.
No, okay. So Mystery of Why is the Kristen. So
it's all about how being aware of injustice and racism is itself racist.
Exposing our satanic government. Okay, well, yeah. I guess that must be it. So you are the same one. Okay. Well, welcome. Kristen follows me and I follow her. So wokeism is dead and religion is obsolete. Wokeism is dead, so I don't know why people still get mad about wokeism is dead. So anyway. Yep. That's fine, Kristen. I just we're wrapping this up, so we'll be ending soon. So but if you do want to ever come on and discuss anything, just let me know. You can DM me on Twitter. But with that being said, for next week, I know whoops, wrong one. Saibu made a suggestion: who has it worse, the US with Trump or Australia with Reagan? But unless Reagan is going to be like getting Australia to
that is a
take
real
over
low. That is
nearby
so
countries.
I just realised they've got the same choreographer.
Yeah.
Sorry. I did not catch that. That is true. The kangaroo hop is very similar to what Trump does. That's hilarious.
There are surprising similarities. I just want to see Trump lying on his side going round in a circle.
And also just that
Homer
whole,
Simpson style.
Yeah, and that whole being litigation happy. Like I know Reagan was suing some people. But anyway,
that one next week.
Well, so we won't because I do have someone lined up. So there's been a couple people talking about public executions. Trump is one of them. And this one person, Justin Peters, was saying that this couple adopted and molested 9 and 11-year-old sons, and said that they basically should be publicly executed. And I think there's another kind of a congressman wannabe who posted a mock execution, a video of that, and said that all illegals who commit murder or rape should be publicly executed. So there's been kind of a lot of talking about public executions. So this person, Joe Campbell, he's I think he might be kind of a professional philosopher, or he at least publishes in philosophy journals. I'm actually going to be bringing him on later in January, but before him, we will be bringing this guy in, who Charles Sears, and he's the CEO of of a company that he started, and he's a follower of Christ. But so when Joe said that, what's with this new Christmas spirit that has grabbed all these people up? Sorry, Joe was saying that this was the second person that he had heard about public executions. So Charles responded and said, well, if you don't understand why executions are important, you don't understand the two reasons justice exists. So I went back and forth with him, kind of arguing, and that's probably something that I should stop. I should just kind of end these arguments quickly, because if like I was following me and saw all these back and forth with idiots, I think it would kind of get a little bit too much. So I'm going to just stop having those long ones. But basically, if they don't come on, they're either going to be in the the Dodger of the Week segment, or I'll schedule them in. So for next week, I'm going to be scheduling him to talk about public, I guess, the death penalty and public execution. He also seems to be kind of homophobic, so that might be another topic that we have with him. But yeah, so he's scheduled for January 4th. Yeah, January 4th, this next week. So I missed this. Windmill was saying your excellent argument with the Emmett Till reference. Thank you.
As public executions, that's more evidence that backs up my claim. America is moving back to the 17th, 16th century. It'll be the dunking stool in every pond in America. It's my brain once again has to do a reboot every time I see something like that. But public executions, I mean, I think the French stopped that in I think before the 1900s. All the guillotines were done behind prison walls. Not that
so we'll have this discussion next week. So I would ask that if you can get on Twitter, go and look through that thread with him. I'll have to bookmark that thread. But I did have a pinned comment about kind of my stance on religious beliefs. That is really about what the religious beliefs lead to. And I screenshotted the comments that APOT made about, basically, murdering atheists and gays. And the reason why I thought he might be a little bit homophobic is because he was asking me whether I'm against all forms of argument against homosexuality and other forms of stereotyping and arguments for intolerance. So I basically said, this is something that we can also discuss next week. So we will, we might get into that as well. So just for you guys to be prepared. All right. So then we'll close up this last live stream of 2024. And do you guys have anything you want to add at the end?
Just huge thanks to Neil and everyone else who turned up. I mean, it was really, it just shows that if you're civil, atheists will be civil back. And Neil is proof of that. And
if you ever have any additional questions, just send them across to me. That's fine.
I still got your phone number as well, Neil. So.
Cool. Good.
Yeah. We shall talk later. Thank you, everyone. Back to Q.
Have a great New Year's Eve if you're up to anything. And I'll probably talk to you all in the comments section between now and then, but otherwise I'll talk again next year.
Well, if anyone's interested, I'm watching lots of Yes Minister tomorrow, followed by Wifnal and I.
Oh, that is a good show. Yes.
And we might be drinking a fair bit as well.
Well, then
awarding the tourists.
Thanks, Miranda.
Yeah, so then I will wish all of you a happy new year. It will be interesting in the US with the new incoming administration. So I'm sure there'll be lots of things that we can discuss on here. But for you guys personally, as well as everyone in the chats, I wish you guys a happy new year. And I will then see you in the comments.
Play the outro.
Happy New Year to you.